The chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with light. Giant holograms floated above the long table, showing fleets of warships from across the galaxy. Every ship glowed in the projection, massive alien dreadnoughts, carriers, cruisers, all marked with their empire's colors. The chamber itself was carved from black stone and polished metal, designed to show power and control. Dozens of alien leaders sat in tall chairs, their faces proud, their voices cold. They were rulers of empires that had conquered whole star systems. They were used to fear and respect, but tonight something unusual was on display. A new fleet, tiny in size, was being projected. A handful of ships, each one smaller than a council transport. The label on the projection read, "Humanity Sol System." At first, silence filled the chamber. Then it started, soft chuckles from one corner, mocking whispers from another. Soon the entire chamber was roaring with laughter. "Are these toys?" one reptilian warlord hissed, slamming his claw against the table. "I have seen cargo drones bigger than this." Another alien, with silver skin that shimmered under the council lights, leaned forward and smirked. "You bring us models of shuttles and call them warships? Surely this is some kind of joke." Laughter echoed again. Even the recording drones circling the chamber picked up the sound, broadcasting it live across the galactic network. Billions of citizens across alien worlds saw the same thing. Tiny human ships mocked by the great powers. The chair of the council, a tall insectoid with glowing red eyes, tapped its staff. The sound cut through the noise. "Order, order in the chamber. Let us be serious. Humanity has requested recognition as a spacefaring race. It is our duty to examine their capabilities." Another hologram appeared. It showed Earth, blue and white, floating in space. Orbiting above it were human stations and the small fleet. The ships were sleek gray with glowing engines. They looked fragile compared to the massive dreadnoughts of other empires. The insectoid chair hissed softly. "They call this a fleet? This is barely enough to defend one moon." One alien general, his body covered in spines, laughed so hard his voice broke. "If these humans ever enter a war, they will be erased in a single battle. A single destroyer from my empire could crush their entire navy." The council chamber roared again with cruel amusement. They mocked. They jeered. They dismissed humanity as nothing. But in one dark corner of the chamber, a younger alien officer remained quiet. His name was Xal, from a species that valued silence. His wide eyes studied the human fleet carefully. Something about it did not feel right. He whispered to the delegate beside him. "Look closer."
"They're ships."
"The energy readings are strange. They are not simple shuttles." But the delegate ignored him, too busy laughing with the others. The mocking grew louder. Across the galaxy, alien citizens repeated the words "tiny fleet" as if it was a joke to share. Humanity became a punchline, a source of humor for the powerful, and then suddenly the laughter stopped. The hologram flickered. The council's communication system had been hacked. A new image filled the chamber. A human face, a man middle-aged, wearing a dark uniform with Earth's emblem on his chest, stared directly at the council. His voice was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "You find us amusing," he said. "You laugh at what you see. But know this, Earth has survived every war, every storm, every enemy that tried to break us. We are not weak. We are not toys. We are humanity. And we are watching you." The chamber fell silent. The alien leaders shifted in their seats. Some hissed in anger at the breach. Others frowned in sudden unease. The hologram vanished as quickly as it appeared. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the insectoid chair slammed its staff again. "Outrageous! How dare these humans intrude into council communications? They will regret this insult." Anger spread through the chamber, but beneath the anger, hidden in the shadows, was something else. A feeling none of them wanted to admit. It was fear. Zal, the quiet officer, leaned back in his seat. He whispered to himself, unheard by the others, "You fools! They are not showing us everything. Those ships are not what they seem." The council erupted into arguments, threats, and promises of retaliation. But above them, the hologram of Earth still glowed. Small, fragile, yet unbroken. And in the silence between voices, the stars seemed to whisper humanity had arrived. The final camera angle lingers on the tiny fleet hologram. For a split second, one ship flickers, its outline shifting, revealing the hidden shape of a weapon far larger than anything the Council expected. The screen cuts to black. The broadcast of the Galactic Council's laughter traveled faster than light. Within hours, it reached every corner of the galaxy. Hollow screens in crowded alien cities replayed the footage of tiny human ships, followed by the echo of alien leaders mocking them. Toy fleet, the alien networks called it. Children on distant planets laughed as cartoons showed humans riding small ships like scooters. Talk shows invited admirals and generals to discuss how ridiculous Earth was. Even merchants selling trinkets renamed their cheap products the Human Fleet Collection. The galaxy turned humanity into a joke, but not everyone was laughing. On Earth, inside a hidden war room deep under the mountains, human commanders watched the broadcast in silence. Their faces were grim. Screens showed alien leaders sneering, pointing, ridiculing. The insults spread like fire. An older admiral leaned forward, fists tight. His voice was low but sharp. "They think we are weak. Let them." The younger officers around him exchanged uneasy glances. One of them spoke carefully. "Sir, if the galaxy believes we are weak, won't they attack us?" The admiral's eyes narrowed. "If they attack, they will learn the truth." Far away, in alien space, a small scout ship followed a human convoy near the Orion Rim. Its crew of insectoid pilots laughed as they observed through long-range scanners. "Look at them," one said, wings clicking with amusement. "Slow engines, thin armor. These ships will never survive a battle." Another zoomed in on the hull of a human frigate. "Strange. The energy signature is not normal. It looks..." Before he could finish, the convoy flickered on the scanners. The lead human ship shimmered, its outline twisting like liquid metal. Then, with a sudden shift, hidden panels unfolded along its sides. Massive cannons emerged, glowing with power. The insectoid crew froze. Their laughter died instantly. What is this?" One whispered. The frigate fired a warning shot. A single blast of energy streaked across empty space, passing dangerously close to the alien scout. The power reading nearly fried their senses. The scout captain's mandibles trembled. "Pull back! Pull back now!" They fled, engines burning bright. Behind them, the human convoy continued on its way, silent and calm, as if nothing had happened. Back at the Galactic Council, the insectoid captain tried to report what he had seen, but his words were drowned out by the noise of mocking voices. "Humans. A threat," one alien elder scoffed. "Do not waste our time." "Tiny ships," another laughed. "Tiny minds." But in the shadows, Zal, the quiet officer from before, listened closely. His sharp eyes burned with unease. He had seen the scout's raw data. He had read the energy patterns. Those were not toys. Those were weapons. Meanwhile, across human space, preparations began in silence. In shipyards orbiting Earth and Mars, engineers worked around the clock. Massive skeletons of ships floated in dry docks, their frames glowing with construction lights. These ships were not small. They were giants, hidden from alien eyes. Human soldiers drilled in underground bases. Their voices echoed through tunnels as they repeated the same words. "We defend Earth. We do not break." On alien news networks, commentators laughed louder. "These humans are farmers pretending to be warriors," one said. "If they enter the stars, they will be crushed." But far from the cameras, in quiet, secret halls, some alien strategists began to worry. One sent a message to the Council: "Do not underestimate humanity. Their silence hides something dangerous." No one listened, and so the mockery spread further. Across the galaxy, the words "tiny fleet" became a weapon of humiliation. But among those who truly studied the reports, whispers began. Rumors spread in hidden channels. Some said the humans were tricking the galaxy. Some said their ships carried weapons never seen before. And then came the first spark. A powerful alien warlord, eager for glory, announced that he would crush the humans personally. He promised to capture Earth within a week. His fleets began to move. In the war room under Earth's mountains, alarms flashed. Human commanders saw the incoming threat. The younger officers grew tense. "Admiral," one asked nervously, "should we warn the people? Should we tell them what is coming?" The admiral stood in silence for a long time. Finally he spoke. "No, let them come. It is time the galaxy learns who we are." His words echoed through the chamber like steel. The scene cuts to the alien warlords' fleet, hundreds of towering warships preparing for war. The camera zooms in on their commander, grinning with arrogance. He raises his hand and shouts, "Bring me Earth, burn their toy fleet to ashes." The screen fades to black. The alien warlords' fleet cut through space like a storm. Hundreds of ships, each one larger than a city, spread across the stars. Their engines burned red, their weapons charged with energy. The warlord sat on his command throne, a beast of muscle and armor, his eyes burning with pride. He believed the battle ahead would be the easiest victory of his career. He had promised the Council a spectacle. He had promised the galaxy the destruction of the tiny fleet. At the edge of human space, near a quiet star system, his fleet finally found its prey. A lone human ship drifted between the planets, grey and silent. On alien senses it looked fragile, like a fishing boat caught in the tide of war. The warlord roared with laughter. "Is this all Earth has to offer? A single ship to stop me? Fire at once! Let us end this insult." The alien fleet opened fire. Beams of plasma lit up the void, streaking across space and hammering against the human vessel. For a moment the ship vanished inside a storm of fire. Alien crews cheered, certain the battle was already over, but when the light faded, the human ship was still there. Its shields shimmered faintly, but the hull remained intact. Not a single breach. The alien bridge fell silent. Confusion spread through their ranks. The warlord growled. "Impossible. Increase the power. Break them." The fleet fired again, harder, stronger, until the void shook with light. Still the human ship stood. On the bridge of the lone vessel, a human captain sat calmly in his chair. His voice was low, steady, filled with iron. "They believe we are weak. They believe we are toys. They are wrong." "Weapons officer, prepare the reply." Panels across the human ship slid open. Cannons unfolded, glowing with white light. Energy built inside them, brighter and brighter, until it looked like the ship itself had caught fire. The alien crews panicked. Warnings filled their consoles. Energy levels from the human ship were far beyond expected limits. The warlord leaned forward, eyes wide. For the first time, doubt touched his face. The human captain gave a single command. "Fire!" The cannons roared. A single beam shot forward, pure and sharp, cutting across the void. It struck an alien cruiser head-on. The ship exploded instantly, torn apart as if it were made of paper. Shock rippled through the alien fleet. Dozens of voices shouted across comms. "One shot destroyed it." "Shields failed. Their weapons are stronger than ours." The warlord roared in rage. "Do not break! Surround them! Crush them with numbers!" Alien ships swarmed, but the lone human vessel moved with precision. It spun between enemy fire, striking with deadly accuracy. Every shot destroyed another alien warship. The fragile-looking ship became a predator carving through giants. In the council chamber, light years away, the battle was being broadcast live. Alien leaders leaned forward, their mocking smiles gone. The chamber grew tense. One whispered, "This cannot be. That tiny ship is defeating an entire fleet." Another hissed, "What have the humans built?" In the shadows, Officer Zal closed his eyes. His voice was quiet but certain. "I warned you." Back at the battle, the warlord grew desperate. His fleet was breaking. Ships exploded one after another, their wrecks drifting in flames. The warlord's own dreadnought took heavy hits, alarms screaming across the bridge. He snarled, refusing to believe what he saw. "It is one ship, only one. They cannot win against all of us." Then space itself rippled. The stars twisted. From hyperspace, more human ships emerged. Dozens of them. Sleek grey engines burning blue. Each one unfolded its hidden weapons, glowing brighter than suns. The alien crews froze in horror. The warlord's jaw tightened. His heart pounded. The human captain's voice echoed across all channels. This is the Terran fleet. You mocked us. You thought we were nothing. Now you will see the truth. The new arrivals spread out in perfect formation, their weapons charged in silence. The void filled with light as they prepared to fire. On the Warlord's bridge, fear finally cracked through his pride. He whispered the words his crew never thought they would hear. Retreat, but it was already too late. The camera zooms in on the largest human ship. Its cannons glow brighter than all the stars around it. The energy builds until the screen shakes. Just before the blast is unleashed, the screen cuts to black. The galaxy shook when the first reports came in. Entire fleets had been destroyed by what was supposed to be a tiny human ship. Alien channels replayed the footage again and again. At first, viewers thought it was some kind of fake, a manipulated recording. But the truth spread too quickly to deny. The humans had stood against a warlord's fleet, not only survived, but destroyed it. In the heart of the Galactic Council, panic replaced laughter. The chamber that once roared with jokes now echoed with angry voices. Holograms showed burning wrecks drifting in space, all belonging to the warlord who had mocked Earth. The proud banners of his empire floated among debris, torn apart by Terran firepower. "This is impossible," one delegate shouted. His skin was dark green and scaled. His claws tapped the table as he shook with anger. "Humans cannot build weapons like these. Their technology is primitive. Their world is young. How can they destroy a fleet of that size?" Another delegate snapped back. "Do you not see the proof? The humans hid their true strength. We laughed at their size, but their weapons are sharper than ours. This changes everything." The insectoid chair slammed its staff. Sparks lit the air as the sound demanded silence. "We must act. If humanity can build ships like this in secret, they may already be preparing more. If we wait, their power will only grow." In the shadows, Officer Zal watched. His sharp eyes scanned the reports. Every reading confirmed what he had feared. The humans were not weak. Their ships carried energy levels no one had ever measured before. It was not just technology, it was design, precision, will. While the Council fought with words, the galaxy's common people whispered with fear. On alien worlds, crowds gathered around public holoscreens. Mothers pulled their children closer as human warships lit the sky in endless loops of replayed footage. Workers muttered in factories. Soldiers in alien armies shifted uneasily. The question spread like fire. If humans could destroy one fleet, what would they do to the next? On Earth, the atmosphere was different. The broadcast of victory spread across the planet. Cities erupted in cheers. People danced in the streets. For the first time, humanity saw itself not as the target of laughter, but as a rising power that had shocked the galaxy. In orbit above Earth, construction yards worked without rest. New hulls glowed with sparks from welding torches. Engineers shouted commands as more ships were completed each day. What the galaxy called a tiny fleet was already doubling in size. Inside a secure chamber, human leaders gathered around a glowing map of the stars. The admiral who had commanded the lone ship spoke with firm control. "The warlord is dead. His empire is broken, but others will come. The galaxy will not forgive this humiliation. They will strike with greater numbers. We must be ready." One general asked, "Should we reveal the Aegis?" The room went quiet. Everyone knew what that name meant. The Aegis was more than a ship. It was humanity's greatest weapon, a vessel hidden from every eye, built in the silence of Saturn's orbit. The admiral shook his head. "Not yet. Let them think they have seen the worst of us. When they come with their grand armadas, then the Aegis will rise. Far away, in the ruins of the warlord's fleet, alien scavengers moved through the wreckage. They searched broken ships, pulling what little could be salvaged. Among the ruins they found something strange. Fragments of human weapon fire remained inside melted armor. The energy signature was not like plasma, not like ion, not like anything the galaxy had used before. Word of this discovery spread in secret. Black markets whispered of human weapons. Some empires already sent spies to Earth, desperate to learn the secret of Terran firepower. Back at the Galactic Council, anger turned to fear. Alien rulers shouted at one another. If the humans continue to grow, our empires will be at risk. We cannot allow them to rise unchecked, but others hesitated. One voice, calm but sharp, asked the question no one wanted to hear. If one small fleet can do this, how many fleets do they truly have? The chamber went silent. The answer was unknown. That night, across dozens of worlds, leaders ordered fleets to mobilize. Massive shipyards activated. Entire empires prepared for war. The galaxy could no longer laugh at humanity. They now feared them. In the blackness of deep space, hidden far from alien eyes, the true size of humanity's strength was revealed. A massive shipyard orbited Saturn, so large it glowed brighter than the planet's rings. At its heart, a single colossal warship stood nearly complete. Its name burned across the hull, Aegis. The screen cuts to black. The shipyard above Saturn glowed like a crown of fire. Sparks rained from scaffolds, engines roared as builders worked without rest, and welding torches lit the blackness of space. At the center of it all floated humanity's greatest creation, the warship Aegis. It dwarfed every vessel around it. Where other ships looked like insects, the Aegis was a leviathan. Its hull stretched for miles, layered with thick armor that shimmered under the glow of Saturn's rings. Cannons large enough to tear a moon apart rested silent along its sides. Energy lines pulsed across its surface like veins of fire. Engineers called it the shield of Earth. Soldiers whispered it was the weapon that could decide the fate of the galaxy. Inside the command deck, Admiral Hayes walked slowly across the floor, his boots striking metal with each step. His eyes studied every screen, every officer. The Aegis was nearly complete, but he knew time was running short. The galaxy had already seen what a small Terran fleet could do. Now enemies were gathering. How long until she is ready? Hayes asked. A young officer straightened. 2 weeks, Admiral. Weapons are online. Engines are at 60%. The shield core needs final alignment. Hayes nodded, his voice sharp. We do not have 2 weeks. We have days. Double the shifts. Work until it is done. On Earth, leaders debated the danger. Some wanted to hide the Aegis, to keep it secret until the last possible moment. Others wanted to reveal it, to show the galaxy that humanity was no longer prey. The council chamber in Geneva shook with arguments. One senator slammed his hand on the table. If we reveal it, they will unite against us. If we hide it, they will underestimate us again. Which is more dangerous? The Admiral's voice cut through the noise. It does not matter. The Aegis will speak for itself. Far from Earth, alien spies carried whispers of the ship. In smoky dens on distant worlds, smugglers traded rumors of a Terran weapon larger than anything in existence. Sketches of its shape passed from hand to hand. Many laughed, saying the humans were bluffing. But others felt fear. One alien scientist stared at the stolen fragments of human weapons fire, her hands trembling. If this is true, if their new ship carries this power, then no fleet will stand against them. In the ruins of the Warlords' empire, survivors plotted revenge. A new commander rose, swearing to crush humanity. He ordered 10,000 ships to assemble. His plan was simple: strike Earth before the Aegis was ready. Back above Saturn, the secret tests began. Engineers loaded a massive asteroid into the test range, a rock the size of a small city. The Aegis locked on. Its main cannon charged, light flooding across the hull until the ship looked like a rising star. The officers braced. The cannon fired. The asteroid shattered instantly. It did not break into pieces. It turned to dust, erased from existence in a single flash. The shockwave rippled through space, shaking the scaffolds of the shipyard. Saturn's rings flickered as the energy washed across them. Silence followed. The officers stared at their screens, unable to speak. Admiral Hayes broke the silence. Good again. They tested once more. A second asteroid vanished. The weapon was real. The galaxy would never forget its name, but not all was ready. The shield core remained unstable. Without it, the Aegis could fire, but could not withstand the full force of enemy fleets. Hayes knew the aliens were coming, and he feared the ship might not be finished in time. On the dark side of Saturn, hidden probes watched. Alien spies had already found the shipyard. Their recordings showed the Aegis glowing with light, its weapons firing at impossible levels. They sent the footage back to their empires. Within days, the entire galaxy knew the truth. The humans had built a god of war. Panic spread across alien capitals. Some leaders demanded alliances against Earth. Others spoke of surrender before the Terrans could strike. Armies began to move, fleets rushed to assemble, and the galaxy braced for war. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, silence filled the air. The insectoid chair lifted its staff and hissed. This is no longer about laughter. This is survival. If the humans unleash the Aegis, no empire will stand, the delegates argued, voices rising in fear. Some demanded immediate attack. Others urged caution. But one fact could not be denied. Humanity had built something greater than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The sky above Earth burned with light. Warning sirens echoed across cities, and people looked up to see fire streaking through the atmosphere. The alien fleet had arrived. From orbit, millions of enemy ships filled the darkness. Their weapons glowed red, casting shadows across the planet below. The warlord's successor stood on the bridge of his flagship, his claws tight on the command rail. His voice carried through the comms. Strike now. Destroy the humans before their monster awakens. The first wave of fire rained down. Energy bolts split the clouds, crashing into the oceans and carving holes in the land. Towers in New York shook. Waves rose in the Pacific, swallowing ships whole. Fear spread across every nation, but humanity did not bow. From hidden bunkers and launch bays, Terran fleets surged into the sky. Dozens of carriers, hundreds of cruisers, and thousands of fighters raced upward like a storm of steel. Engines blazed as soldiers gripped their controls, faces tight with determination. Admiral Hayes watched from the command deck of a smaller flagship. The Aegis was still under construction above Saturn, not yet ready to fight. Humanity had to hold the line. All ships, defend Earth at any cost, Hayes ordered. The void erupted into chaos. Human fighters darted between alien cruisers, unleashing missiles that turned warships into fireballs. Alien weapons cut through the dark, slicing entire Terran formations apart. Metal and flame rained across the battlefield. In the Galactic Council chamber, the delegates watched the live feed in silence. The insectoid chair hissed, his mandibles clicking. They are still fighting, even against such numbers. Madness, a reptilian delegate whispered. Not madness, defiance. Back in orbit, a squad of Terran Marines boarded an alien destroyer. They cut through the hull with plasma torches and stormed the corridors. Gunfire echoed as humans clashed with towering insectoid warriors. The Marines fought with desperation, knowing every second bought Earth more time. On the ground, civilians flooded into shelters as alien dropships descended. Human soldiers met them on the fields with tanks and railguns. Explosions lit the horizon as the war spread to every corner of the planet. The warlord's successor smiled cruelly as he watched Earth burn. This world will be ash. Their fleet will be nothing. Their spirit will break. But his smile faded when a message reached him. One of his scouts had found movement near Saturn, the Aegis. It was not finished, but it was waking. Energy readings surged across the system. Saturn's rings glowed as the massive ship drew power into its core. Admiral Hayes received the report. He knew what it meant. If the Aegis could rise now, even half complete, it might change the war. But the risk was immense. If it failed, Earth would be lost. Signal the shipyard, Hayes said. Bring her online, now! Engineers scrambled. Alarms rang across the massive frame of the Aegis. Cables snapped free as power surged. The hull lit up with rivers of light. The giant warship stirred, engines glowing brighter than stars. On Earth, the people saw the broadcast. Hope filled their eyes as the name of the ship spread across every screen. The Aegis, the shield of Earth, but the aliens reacted fast. The warlord's successor slammed his fist down. Redirect half the fleet. Stop that ship before it joins the fight. Millions of alien vessels broke formation and sped toward Saturn. The Terran defenders screamed across the comms, desperate to hold the line. They are sending everything at her. We cannot stop them. In orbit above Earth, Hayes gritted his teeth. We will give her time. Hold the line at all costs. The fighting grew fiercer. Human ships rammed alien cruisers head-on, sacrificing themselves to stall the enemy. Soldiers gave their lives in fire and steel, knowing every second delayed the fleet's advance. Inside the Aegis, lights flickered. The core roared as the shield system fought to stabilize. Engineers shouted reports. Weapons online. Shields unstable. Engines at 50%. The ship trembled as if alive. Then with a thunderous surge, the Aegis broke free from its scaffolds. The warship drifted forward, massive and unstoppable, its cannons glowing with stored power. From across the system, humans and aliens alike turned to watch. The galaxy had never seen anything so vast, Admiral Hayes whispered as he saw the first images. Rise, Aegis, rise and fight! The alien Grand Fleet closed in, weapons charging. The Aegis turned slowly toward them, like a giant waking from sleep. Its main cannon pulsed with light. The warlord's successor snarled. Fire everything. Destroy it before it breathes. The alien fleet unleashed a storm of energy. A wall of fire aimed straight at the newborn ship. The screen flashes as the first enemy barrage slams into the Aegis. The light swallows everything. Viewers are left with one question. Will the shield of Earth survive its first breath of war? The first barrage struck with the fury of a star. Alien cannons fired as one, millions of beams converging on the single target above Saturn. The Aegis vanished inside a storm of fire. On Earth, the people watching through live feeds gasped. Some cried out in despair, believing the new ship had been destroyed before its first breath. Even on the battlefield, Terran soldiers faltered as the light blinded their eyes. Inside the alien flagship, the warlord's successor bared his teeth in triumph. It is over. Their shield is dust, but then the light began to fade. The storm of energy cleared, and through the smoke the Aegis remained. The giant warship glowed with a pale blue shimmer. Its unstable shield core had activated at the last second, and though it shook violently, it held. The monstrous barrage had failed to break it. On the command deck of the Aegis, engineers cheered in disbelief. Sparks flew from the consoles, warning alarms screamed, but the ship was alive. Admiral Hayes, now transferred aboard the flagship, stood tall at the center. His voice carried across every deck, shields a-holding, weapons online. Bring the main cannon to full charge. Power surged through the ship. Energy conduits blazed like rivers of lightning. The Aegis turned slowly, facing the heart of the alien fleet. The warlord's successor stared at his screens, rage spreading across his face. No, impossible. Fire again. Destroy it! The alien fleet unleashed another wave, but this time the Aegis answered. Its main cannon lit up like a new sun. A single beam of white fire tore across the void. The energy cut through entire formations, vaporizing dozens of warships in one strike. The blast carved a path through the fleet, leaving silence in its wake. Human soldiers across Earth and orbit roared with hope. Civilians wept as they watched the impossible. The Aegis had not only survived, it had struck back, but the battle was far from over. The alien fleet outnumbered humanity 1,000 to 1. Ships swarmed the Aegis like hornets, unleashing missiles and plasma fire. The shield groaned under the weight of the assault. Cracks of light flashed across the hull as sections buckled. Shields at 60%, an officer shouted. Divert power from secondary systems, Hayes commanded. Hold the line. The Aegis fought like a beast chained in fire. Its cannons roared in all directions, tearing through squadrons of alien cruisers. Smaller Terran ships rallied around it, striking where the giant could not reach. Together, they carved open wounds in the enemy's vast armada. In the Galactic Council chamber, the delegates sat frozen. The insectoid chair trembled as he spoke. No empire has ever built such a vessel. If the humans win today, the balance of the galaxy is broken forever, the reptilian delegate hissed in reply. The balance is already broken. Look at them. They fight like no other race. On Earth, ground battles raged as alien forces pressed harder. Dropships fell by the thousands, disgorging troops into burning cities. Human tanks and soldiers pushed back with grit and fury, shouting the same word again and again. Aegis, Aegis, Aegis. The name had become more than a ship. It was a symbol of survival. Yet inside the Aegis itself, danger grew. The unstable shield core pulsed wildly, shaking the decks. Engineers warned Hayes that one more massive barrage might tear the ship apart from the inside. "Then we will fire first," Hayes replied coldly. The warlord's successor snarled. He ordered his fleet to form a spear formation, driving straight at the Aegis. "We will pierce their heart. Even gods bleed." The alien formation advanced, millions of ships forming a burning spear of light. Hayes clenched his fist. "Target their flagship! All power to the main cannon." The cannon charged once more, brighter than ever before. The Aegis shook as it gathered impossible amounts of energy. Across the system, both humans and aliens stopped to watch. The void itself seemed to tremble. The alien flagship locked its weapons, ready to fire at the same instant. The two titans faced each other in silence, seconds from unleashing destruction that could shake worlds. The Aegis fired. The alien flagship fired. The screen cuts to white, leaving only the question, which one survived the blast? The void erupted in white fire. The Aegis and the alien flagship unleashed their cannons at the same instant. Beams of energy collided in the center of space, brighter than a sun, tearing the darkness apart. The blast ripped through both fleets. Ships vaporized in seconds. Thousands of smaller vessels spun out of control, shredded by the shockwave. Saturn's rings shattered into glowing fragments that spread like knives across the system. On Earth, people watching from shelters gasped as the live feed went white. For long seconds, nothing could be seen. Families clutched each other, unsure if humanity's last hope had been erased. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, delegates leaned forward in silence. The insectoid chair whispered, "No fleet could survive such fury." Then the light cleared. The alien flagship was gone. Only drifting wreckage remained. But the Aegis still floated, scarred and burning, yet alive. Its shields had cracked, and massive sections of its hull glowed red with damage, but the core still pulsed with power. Admiral Hayes stood at the command rail, smoke filling the air around him. His uniform was torn, his face streaked with ash, but his voice was steady. "Target the remaining fleet. Show them the shield of Earth still stands." The Terran officers obeyed. Secondary cannons roared to life. Human fighters regrouped and tore through the shaken enemy lines. Without their flagship, the alien fleet wavered. Fear spread among their ranks. The warlord's successor had perished in the blast, leaving no command. Millions of alien ships scattered, some fleeing into the dark, others falling into chaos. Humanity pushed hard, turning defense into counterattack. On Earth, soldiers cheered as alien dropships fell silent. Civilians emerged from shelters to see the sky clearing. Across the world, the chant rose again. Aegis! 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 But victory carried a heavy cost. Thousands of human ships lay in ruins. Millions of lives had been lost in orbit and on the ground. Earth's cities burned, and the oceans boiled where strikes had fallen. Humanity had survived, but survival came with scars. Admiral Hayes listened to the reports with a heavy heart. Then he gave the order. "Broadcast to every corner of the galaxy. Tell them humanity will never bow. Tell them we fight to the last breath." The message spread faster than any fleet. Across alien empires, leaders watched the footage of the Aegis standing against impossible odds. Some trembled in fear. Others clenched their jaws in respect. The image of the wounded but unbroken warship burned into their minds. In the council chamber, silence hung for a long time. Then the reptilian delegate spoke. "We thought they were weak. We thought they were prey. But today we have seen the truth. Humanity is a force the galaxy must reckon with." The insectoid chair lowered its staff. "If they can build one Aegis, they can build more. War against them is suicide." Across the chamber, a mammalian delegate whispered, "Perhaps it is time we learn from them, not fight them." Back on Earth, people poured into the streets despite the smoke and rubble. Families hugged soldiers returning from the front. Children pointed at the sky where the Aegis slowly turned in orbit, battered but unbroken. The ship had become more than a weapon. It was a promise. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge staring at the stars. His crew worked quietly around him, repairing systems, tending to the wounded, counting the lost. He knew the war was not finished. The galaxy would not forget what had happened here. New enemies would rise. Old powers would fear humanity even more, but Hayes also knew something greater. Humanity had proven itself. Against 1,000 to 1, against laughter and mockery, against fire that should have erased them, they had stood. He raised his hand, placing it on the command rail of the great ship. His voice was soft, but every officer heard. This is the dawn of a new age. Humanity has taken its place among the stars. The camera feed panned outward, showing the Aegis floating above the battered world. Below, Earth glowed blue and scarred, yet alive. Above, wreckage drifted like dust, the remains of an armada that once mocked mankind. The screen faded to black as one final message burned across the stars. They mocked the fleet. Now they fear the name of humanity.